Good morning once again, and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. My name is Larry Kallevig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group. And if you're tuning in, every week we talk about all these retirement topics, some that aren't the most exciting, but extremely important. And we like to have as much fun with these topics as possible. So if you're looking for more information about any of these retirement puzzle pieces that we've talked on air about for years, estate planning, getting that reviewed, long-term care, having that discussion, life insurance reviews, wealth management, investments, Medicare, which annual enrollment is coming up, taxes, tax preparation, tax planning, all of these, Social Security timing, when should you take it, all these retirement puzzle pieces, it is what we do at Haven Financial Group. Yes, we do them all under the same roof. That doesn't mean you have to have everything under the same roof. But I can tell you, Kim, in 11 years of this month, the best compliment I get, because the goal 11 years ago was to have multiple personalities in all these retirement areas. Thankfully, and it didn't happen overnight, we have personalities in all these areas and multiple in several of them. So if you're listening, you can find us online at havenfinancialgroup.com. We have a great social media presence. You can come to any of our classes. Again, just check us out or just come on in. There's nothing to lose, only to gain. And maybe that's simply education. We have a very laid back approach. And at the end of the day, if you think we're a good fit, which many do, once they get to know us, then that's where the partnership begins, and it doesn't end. We want long-term partnerships where people feel very comfortable, at ease, to know that somebody's listening, somebody's paying attention. And again, it's not just me. There's many personalities in the office.
Sure.
Come visit us, and I think you'd be very, not surprised, but you might like what you see.
612-504-8400 is how you set up an appointment. Those appointments are free, and they would love to meet you. Just going back for just one brief moment here before we talk about Social Security, I can't tell you how important I personally think it is that you have assembled that team. And I always like to point out to people, you really don't want to go in and see one person for taxes, and then you have to pick up all your paperwork and take it all and get back in your car, and then you have to go and see someone else for your planning for estates, and then that person doesn't know what's going on with your tax. If you think about it in that regard, the idea that the right hand is speaking to the left hand right under one roof, it really is an important feature to have so many experts right there at Haven Financial Group. So I really think that's an important thing to think about as you make decisions about who you'd like to partner with and put together a wonderful retirement. Let's talk about Social Security if we could. First off, I think that a lot of people think as soon as I get to 62, I'm going to turn that thing on because I'm afraid it's going to go away, and I'm going to show Uncle Sam you're not taking my money.
You're right. You know what? I'm going to stick it to the government. When I turn 62, guess what? They're going to feel the pain because I turned it on, and I don't think they're going to feel the pain, okay?
Right.
And oftentimes, and it's why we do a lot of Social Security classes. We had a couple this week that were very well attended. And then people can come in and have the opportunity to discuss that. They'll walk out with a Social Security report. And just often by having a conversation with us, our job isn't to, when they come in, to steer them in any direction. You don't want to do this because we say you don't want to do it, and that's why you should listen to us. No. By having a conversation, are you married? Are you working? How long you're going to work? What does that mean? What is provisional income? What age are you? How much can you make? How much can you make before Social Security will withhold $1 for every $2? What are the tax ramifications? And when we simply have these conversations based on that and your circumstances, married, divorced, whatever it might be, then there's an outlook of going, my idea wasn't the right idea. In fact, if I were to execute my idea without the education or the conversation, wow, that would have been a major misstep in turning it on. The average American, this is a recent study, leaves $182,000 on the table individually by claiming Social Security at the wrong time, or what would be called a suboptimal time. Well, any listener listening, if we were to say, well, we're going to give you $182,000 in your individual retirement account, I don't think anybody's going to turn us down. By the way, we're not. But that's what the average American leaves on the table. So should you turn it on at 62? Maybe there's circumstances that say you should. But maybe there's circumstances that say, no, you should wait till full retirement age, which is based on your birth date. The latest you're going to turn it on is 70, yet only 1 to 2% of Americans wait till age 70. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong. What I'm going to say, that's a lack of education, because I can guarantee you 1 to 2% of Americans waiting till 70. Now, Susie Orman, like or dislike, she says everybody should wait till 70. Well, that's the wrong answer. That's just a generic. But many people should be delaying, especially if you're working. And again, it's a kind of a psychological thing, because you're going, well, my best friend turned on at 62 and I'm 68 and they've been collecting for 6 years, and you do the math in your head. I get it. It's circumstantial, your situation. I will tell you the break-even point is usually 10 to 12 years. If you have longevity in the family, maybe you should wait. If you're married and one of you has longevity, do it making sure it's a we decision, not a me decision, because that surviving spouse could live 10, 20 plus years. And what I'll tell you is they're going to really miss you, but they still want to maintain a lifestyle. And I'm sure you want to leave your spouse with as much income as possible. If you're listening and you go, no, I don't know what your circumstance is, but let's just have that conversation off air. How about that?
I think that's probably a good idea. That might mean they need more services than yours at that point.
Correct. Which sometimes I feel we offer those services too.
I think you do. I think that's so true. Social Security, as you can hear, by the way, education when it comes to Social Security is probably your best friend. It's going to help you to make the right decisions. And Larry has mentioned at Haven Financial Group, they hold some seminars, some educational seminars about Social Security. Go to havenfinancialgroup.com and see when one of those is coming up. If you've got a lot of questions about Social Security, they're free. You need to sign up just so they know who's going to be there, but be sure that you check that out. We've talked about the idea, Larry, that living on Social Security alone in many circumstances is not a good idea. Social Security was never really meant to be your sole retirement funding, correct?
Never was. Throughout history, people have faced, economic insecurities due to unemployment, illness, disability, death, old age, all of the above for those reasons. It dates way back to the ancient Greeks, where they relied on stockpiling olive oil for your trivia buffs out there, which was a point of security back in those days. The Romans did a similar thing. In fact, interesting, back in the Romans, they utilized forms of annuities. Who knew that annuities went back to the Roman days? And that compensated soldiers during the time after their service ended. Poor laws in England, way back in 1601, they had the same type of thing for those that were poor, that needed some assistance, because that's really what Social Security is for. It's not to be your income stream for the rest of your life. So I encourage people, don't become too reliant on the system. Now, you say that, and maybe you're listening and go, well, Larry's insensitive. No, I'm not insensitive at all. I realize life throws curveballs. I realize life's calendar doesn't always cooperate with our calendar, and there are certain situations like those that I mentioned throughout history that's what it needs to serve its purpose. However, for many Americans, it has become a very big guaranteed lifetime income stream that many have become too reliant on. My opinion is do yourselves a favor and do what you can for yourself and your spouse and your family, and save what you can. And then I say Social Security is icing on the cake. Okay. If you can pull that off, I think that's the best way to do it. And then we get back to the history buffs, the same thing through colonial America. Early American poor laws were passed in England. And then you had the Civil War, and then a national pension system emerged for veterans, providing a model for certain Social Security programs, the Great Depression. It was created for good reason, but it's been overdone. And there's no secret because things have really changed. Kim, Social Security originally was designed for a 2 to 3 year lifespan. 2 to 3 years.
Right.
Fast forward to today, you could collect at 62 or whenever. We see folks that have been collecting for 10, 20, or 30 years.
Absolutely.
Is it any wonder that the Social Security Trust Fund has financial problems?
Right.
Aside from problems that we're not going to get into on the air from a political aspect, Social Security was never designed for a 10 to 30 year window. It was designed for 2 to 3 years. Oh, and guess what? There's 12 to 14,000 Americans, depending upon who you ask, that are turning 65 every day. That's a huge part of the budget. So if they took it away, it would be problematic. It's there for those that need it and that truly need it. And at the end of the day, we don't want people to become too dependent on it, because I think that is just not a good idea. So it's why we teach a lot of classes. We have for a long time, educated decisions on why it makes sense. So again, these are the reasons that there is issues, the reforms that people are talking about. None of them we're going to like, but taking it away, I see there's zero threat. But what are some of these reforms? We'll just throw them out there. Changing the retirement age. If you read it, that they're talking about it's age 70. We'll see. They've already changed the retirement age a couple different times over the years. They could tax all your income. Well, that's really exciting. Well, they could. They could change the Social Security formula. Now, on air, we're not going to get into the Social Security formula, but they could change the formula. And my joke is, and it's not a very good joke, is I'm sure they would consult with us before they change the formula.
I feel sure of that.
I love your optimism, but it's not going to happen. Or they could say that, wow, Kim, you've done such a good job saving, you and your husband, for retirement that you're not going to get Social Security.
Right.
You say, well, that could never happen. Well, that's called means testing. You say never is a long time. Medicare is already a means tested program. So we're not going to like any of these reforms. You know, what will it look like when my daughters get to Social Security age? Who knows? But that's why we shouldn't become too reliant on it. And many Americans have. And it's unfortunate because it's really burdened down the system. It sure has.
Yes, it has. 612-504-8400 if you have questions about Social Security, if you'd like to talk to the experts there at Haven Financial Group, or set up an appointment and go in and visit with them. Give them a call, 612-504-8400. Coming up next, we're going to talk about some of the things you should avoid when it comes to retirement and that transitional period. This is the Haven Financial Group Radio Show.